Hey everyone, we are now here to talk about the fairies of Yes Percure 5. Starting with a fairy who, in the first season, gives the Cures their first group attack, and becomes a Percure herself with a human form in Gogo. We'll be talking about Milk, aka Mino Kurumi, and Milky Rose. So let's get started with all the information of Milk. Comes from the Percure wiki fandom. Milk is a white and pink fairy who appears in Yes Percure 5. She ends her sentences with Miru. Unlike Coco and Nuts, she was unable to transform into a human. She takes her role as their caretaker seriously. Along with the most other things, most of the time, she is seen quarreling with Nozomi because of the letter's goofy attitude. However, Milk learns to have faith in Percure and has strong urge to help them whenever they are struggling. She can become an armband for the Cures to perform 5 Explosion. In Yes Percure 5 Gogo, she obtains the ability to turn into a human and the power of the blue rose after picking it up and growing the blue seed and all that stuff. Her human alias is Mimino Kurumi and her alter ego is Milky Rose. Despite showing herself as Kurumi at first, it is evident that her personality has not changed as stated by Nuts. Milk comes from the 4th and 5th season of Percure, Yes Percure 5 and Yes Percure 5 Gogo. She made her debut as Milk in episode 21 of Yes Percure 5, Milky Rose in episode 10 of Yes Percure 5 Gogo, and also episode 11 as Kurumi. She is a 14-year-old and her home place is Palmia Kingdom. Her roles are as of the mascot in Yes 5 and a Percure equal in Gogo. This becomes the mid-season Cures later on the line. Her alter ego is Milky Rose. Her theme is blue roses and her theme color is purple. Her henshin phrase is Sky Rose Translate, and her henshin item being the Milky Palette. She has 2 weapons on. One is the Milky Palette, and the other one is the Milky Mirror. Her voice actor is Eri Sendai in Japanese, Valentina Mari in Italian, Kim Se-yeon in Korean, and her image song is Milk, Miracle, Milky Legend. Milk is a pale pink looped ear rabbit with slightly darker pink hair and ear tips. Her eyes are mauve and she wears red ribbons on her head and neck, the neck one being held by a gold medallion. As Kurumi, Milky's eyes are slightly lighter and she gains shorter length wavy purple hair, with the bangs entirely pulled back and held with a rose ribbon. Normally she wears a pale pink and white dress with a large blue rose and green leaves painted in the lower left corner. She also wears violet leggings and shiny red striped-on shoes. For the summer, she switches to a lavender blouse with a detailed skirt and rose design, and a pair of pink flats. In Yes Percure 5 Gogo, Okanai no Kuni no Happy Birthday, she wears a violet long-sleeve blouse with a pale pink buttoned vest and skirt. The ruffled palette coat is also violet. On the neck is a blue rose with a green ribbon, and she wears Manarv boots. As Milky Rose, her eyes and hair brighten in color, and it now reaches her wrist, with a portion held up in a pair of tails. She wears a vine-like headdress decorated with a blue rose and a pastel-like ribbon, and gold pearls to ascend from droplets earrings. She wears a white outfit composed of a corset that has purple details and layered, skirted sleeves, and a ruffled skirt with a ruffled purple trim around the waist. Her gloves are colored to match to have a blue rose on the hand to match the chest, resting over a pale blue leaf like below. She also wears dark purple shorts and a pair of lilac and purple boots with a ruffled top and a ribbon on the back. As Rainbow Milky grows, her hair brightens white and her skirt grows longer and the sleeves are fuller. She also has small gold wings. Milk is a strict, no-nonsense type of person when it comes to cocoa and nuts. She tries her best to watch over them so they don't make any foolish decisions. And if she's unable to be with them, then she starts to feel useless and worries a lot. She's unable to tolerate anyone who shows rudeness to either of the two. Initially would only show coldness towards anyone who was not them. She also is selfish and greedy, but has begun to trust the cures and befriend them. She also begins to act less disrespectful and learn to be more kinder to the others. However, Milk is also a lot like Nozomi. She can be childish most of the time and only causes problems for others, even if it wasn't her intention. As a human, she displays a much more mature side though and appears to be very selfless. But at times, she could be swept up in what the girls are doing at the time. Milk shows deep respect towards her fellow fairies and princes, along using her respectful suffix of sama when saying their names. She also is shown to initially have feelings for Coco. Milk criticizes Nozomi often because she does not think Nozomi is capable of being a leader or a good caretaker. She's often got jealous of Nozomi when she's got Coco's attention. She also often causes her anger by bickering over food, mainly over chocolate. Despite these attitudes against each other, they share a lot in common and over time stick up with each other with true friendship. Karen has a loving and protective relationship with Milk. Milk admires Karen for her mature and graceful nature and she looks up to her. Their relationship resembles that of Nozomi and Coco, Komichi and Nuts, Yura and Syrup, and they become even closer after Karen sacrifices herself in battle. Her name comes from Milk, a type of tea time beverage, much like cocoa and nuts, and syrup. Also, when combined with coconuts, it makes coconut milk, I mean. Her human name is Minano Kurumi, and the whole name is actually a pun, which written backwards, it's spelled out as Maruko no Mimi, which translates to milk ears. Her surname is written out using common kanji to make it more convincing. Mi translates to beauty. Mi has no significant pronunciation and it indicates that the symbolic to come before is repeated and no means plain or field. And Kurumi is a common girl's name that can mean walnut. For her alter ego Milky Rose, it's a name that is also inspired by Milk's name and is also the second season's second theme, the rose, particularly the blue rose, which is the reason Milk can transform at all. Milk is first seen walking through the alley dragging a small wheeled suitcase while Nozomi runs past her on the way to catch the school bus. In episode 21, Milk comments to herself that she has found another snucker and wanders out into Nozomi's path and pretends to be a stuffed animal, which Nozomi picks up. Nozomi comments that she thinks it's cute and briefly looks around to see who might have dropped it. But when Wing calls her over to saying that she's gonna miss the bus, She puts Milk in her bag and runs to catch the bus. Milk can be seen inside Nozomi's bag, eating her lunch, which makes Nozomi mad when Milk is finally discovered at Nut's store later in the episode. Milk introduces herself and reveals that Coco and Nuts are princes, which surprises the girls because they didn't know at the time somewhat, and even though Milk is told that the girls are Percure, she does not think they are taking good care of them. Yep, that's Milk for ya. In Yes Percure 5 Gogo, after the battle against the Nightmare, Milk resumes her duties as a caretaker to both the new kings of the Palmyra Kingdom. But when the kingdom got attacked by Eternal, both Coco and Nuts were again needed by the human world to support the cures, leaving her behind. In the events of episode 7, she picked up a glowing blue seed which is believed to be the blue rose of miracles, and she grew it, giving her the powers of the blue rose and the ability to transform into a human, as well as a pretty cure. The blue rose is my secret emblem, Milky Rose. Milky Rose is an ally of the Yes 5 team who appeared in episode 10 of Yes Percure 5 Gogo. She has a long, violet, curly hair, fuchsia eyes, and wears violet and blue rose decorations. She is significantly stronger than the other cures, being able to defeat her foe with ease. However, she has to be careful with using her powers, or else she could de-transform back into her mascot form. In order to transform into Milky Rose, Milk must be in her human form Kurumi, and have her Milky palette in hand. To transform, she calls out Sky Rose Translate. The first time she aided the 5 cures, Milky Rose did not reveal who she really was, and ran off, making all the girls wondering if she really was on their side. Her powers are related to winds and blizzards. Milky Rose's significant signature attack is Blizzard. When Nuts gained his Palmyra crown, Milky Rose could use the Milky Note and the Milky Mirror to perform Metal Blizzard. In the final episode, she can use Flora Explosion together with the 5 other cures. In episode 38, she and Cure Dream make an extremely strong attack to destroy 2 powerful enemies at once. Though unnamed, this attack was very similar to Marble Screw, Cure Black and Cure White spell, performed throughout the Futari Wa Percure series. Milk as Rainbow Milky Rose. Rainbow Milky Rose is her upgraded Milky Rose, and she gains this in Percure All-Stars DX2, Kanebyo no Hikari Rainbow Julie Omore. Together with the other group's upgrades, the group attack of the 17 girls from the group Cure Rainbow. Sky Rose Translate. Sky Rose Translate is the transformation phrase used by Kurumi to transform into Milky Rose. A large rose first blooms and turns into the Milky palette, which Kurumi grabs in her left hand using the palette pen. She taps the leftmost white screen and the 3 buttons on the palette row in sequence. This causes the rightmost right screen to shine. Kurumi then crosses her arms and shouts, "Sky Rose Translate," causing her body to be shined with light of blue roses and bloom at her feet, and all blue roses explode in a storm of petals. Kurumi is then seen in the mist. Her body is shining with purple light, and she crosses her hands and the front of her chest, petals surrounding him, and the form of the arm protectors. She spins around as the petals come to form her skirt and her boot and her shoes. And last, the petals from her top are transformed into 2 ribbons in her hair, explode to petals, and with that, the form of the rose tiara and her hair links. Finally, Milky Rose opens her eyes and she recants her introductory speech. Milky Rose puts together the pen on the palette. and presses on the buttons to activate the powers. After saying the incantation, she points it at the enemy, which is a device that a giant blue rose appears before her. Pointing the same way, her swinging the Milky palette to a generous makes the rose separate into numerous petals in attacking the enemy. The letter is surrounded by the petals, which together form an even greater blue rose. Afterwards, the blue rose then explodes. Nuts calls the power for Milky Rose. The Milky Note appears, pressing together the buttons resembling a red and blue rose each. The Milky Note then sends the blue rose to Milky Rose's Milky palette. When the rose touches the Milky palette, it fuses together and creates the Milky mirror. Milky Rose then repeats the same way she uses Blizzard, except the blue rose now is a more metallic appearance, being gray and reflecting. In episode 38, she has Kara Dream, making extremely strong attack to destroy two powerful enemies. With this unnamed, this attack was very similar to the Marvel Screw attack that was used by Cure Black and Cure White to perform throughout Futari wa Percure. Fact 1. For the Percure All-Stars DX movie character polls held by Toei Animation, Milk as Milky Rose appeared in the following rankings as 8th in the Percure you want to be the most, and also 8th in the fairy you wish to have a partner the most. Fact 2. In the Percure All-Star Sweet Flower Card Collection, Kurumi is represented by the blue rose, which symbolizes dreams that come true and the luck in the language of flowers. Fact 3. Milk shares her voice actress with Shiro Kubota, a supporting character from Futari wa Percure and its sequel. Fact 4. Milky Rose is the only cure to have a voice lines in the Percure All-Stars films, after DX3. However, it is heard that she is screaming in the new Stage 3, Battle Cry! In Fact 4, her human identity is given names of the homophone with Erika Kurumi's surname. Now we come to the end of Milk's information. Next time we'll go over to Coco. So see you next time, everyone.